Commissioners Committee comprised of myself and Commissioner Maria Guastella, the Richmond County Democrat. I would now ask that each commissioner and staff member identify himself. I'm Simon Schmoon, Kings County Republican.
Maria Guastella, Richmond Democrat.
Kenneth Milton, Council of the Commissioners.
Matt Graves, candidate, Refuge Unit.
Tom Sandy, ballot manager, candidate, Records Unit.
Daniel Ortiz, Brooklyn office.
Diane Mediano, Brooklyn office.
Chuck McQuinn, temporary staff.
To enable us to move matters along in an orderly fashion, we ask the cooperation on the for the commissioners at this hearing must fill out a notice of appearance form, which is available at the front counter. Each person must present the completed form for each specification or to our staff as they come up to the podium to speak. Please, only one speaker at a time. I have to remind all commissioners, board staff, attorneys, and members of the public that only one person shall speak at a time so that the audio and video systems can accurately record the proceedings. Also, please speak directly into the microphone so that all present can hear the proceedings. Also, that all present place their cell phones on vibrate or silent, ring, or turn them off during the course of these proceedings. I will also advise all present that this board is required by law to record how each commissioner votes on each matter. In the event we are not unanimous in our vote on a given matter, I will ask that our council conduct a roll call vote of the commissioners for the record. I now call upon Ken Maltner, Council of the Commissioners, to call a calendar for this hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner. First, by way of formality for the record, we have on specifications 97-1 and 98-1. In the matter of the objections, Janine Cherchette and Lai Hua Feng, objector to the petition of Joseph Barnello for member of the State Assembly. Commissioners, as you recall, this was voted on Tuesday. We've been given, and the numbers were finalized then, we've been given by the Kings County staff the typewritten version of that, so I'll just read that into record. But there is, confirming there has been no change from Tuesday's vote by the commissioners, so we have the typewritten recording. Again, I'll just read it into the record. Number of signatures submitted for the candidate, 427. Total invalid signatures, 15. Total valid signatures, 412. Number of signatures required, 408, so the candidate was on the ballot. And again, we just have the typewritten clerk's report.
Just to confirm, this is from Tuesday, August 5th, 2014.
Correct.
Petition of Joseph Baronello for member of the Assembly, District 47, spec number 97-1 and 98-1.
Correct.
Thank you.
It doesn't require a vote, correct? We voted last week.
Correct. It was voted on, and they said the only, we just have the typewritten file number in the clerk's report. No
Thank
vote.
you, Council.
All right, thank you. Okay, calling spec number 135, Party Republican, Kings County, date August 4, 2014. In the matter of the objections by Diana Sepulveda to the petition of the opportunity to ballot, a member of the New York State Assembly, District 45, as I mentioned, spec number 135. Number of signatures submitted for the candidate, 646. Total invalid signatures, 174. Total valid signatures, 472. Number of signatures required 500. Appearances, please, and do you have a notice of appearance?
Oh, yes, I just handed that in.
Yes. Okay, you have. Okay. Your appearance, please. Can you state your name, please?
Oh, my name is Gary Popkin.
And you represent?
I represent Joseph Hyon.
Who is?
He's a committee to receive notices
Thank you.
on that OTB petition.
Do you have anything to add to the clerk's report?
Oh, yes, I have I have a list of 60 signatures that can be rehabilitated.
Do we have any appearance from an objector? Can you pass the list forward, please?
Yes.
Do you, by any chance, have multiple copies?
I do. I have two other copies. Yes, I have two other copies. I thought, yes, I do. I do have two more copies. That is kind of scribbles on from my own notes.
Okay, we'll direct a team, bipartisan team from the borough to work this list of exceptions and return back to us with a, if necessary, revised clerk's report. Thank you. I guess in the meantime, we'll recess until we hear back from the.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a recall, a matter of objection by Diana Sepulveda, a petition of Opportunity Ballot member of New York State Assembly, District 45, spec number 135. We had directed our Brooklyn team to work the list of exceptions presented by the parties. I understand they have done so. I do also understand that Mr. Baradelli, on behalf of the objector, would like to raise a legal point, first of all, and I'll entertain that now, Mr. Baradelli.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Shamoon, and good afternoon, everyone. The point that I raise appears on the first page of the specifications of objections by the objector, which is an objection to the committee to receive notices printed on all petitions filed in all volumes, specifically that for the first named member of the committee to receive notices, Boris Pincus. It states on the petitions that the address for Mr. Pincus is 1120 Brighton Beach Avenue, apartment 5K, Brooklyn, New York 11235. That is in fact not his address. His address is actually apartment 2C. I asked that if you want to verify with his buff card that we have it printed out and shown to you. But in the meantime, I'd like to pass up to the commissioners publication number 213 from the United States Postal Service, which states in part, it's entitled Secondary Address Unit Designators. It states in the first sentence, and I can hand out a copy to the commissioners if you like.
We're familiar with it. This issue came up at our last hearing, so
Okay.
I'd allow you to read off the
Certainly.
pertinent part if you like.
Certainly. Secondary address unit designators such as apartment or suite are required to be printed on the mail piece for address locations containing secondary unit designators. So in this case here, we have a committee to receive notices where we are required to give notice to the first named person on the committee. We sent it to his correct address, as we stated here in our objection, as well as to the address 5K. The objections to that is that there is no enrolled Republican residing in apartment 5K, and that Boris Pincus does not live at apartment 5K. If this was a committee to fill vacancies, or if there was a case where there was no apartment number printed on the committee to receive notices, I can understand this objection being put aside. However, this is a committee that was meant to receive notice by pursuant to board rules regarding objections to these petitions. If not for our due diligence, it wouldn't have happened and there would have been a legal issue on our part. So in order to avoid confusion, we did that. But this is clearly confusing, and I think that's the standard that we use here when it comes to committees to receive notices. If there's documentation printed, and there is no printer's error affidavit.
Do you have any case law on this?
I do not have any
I actually
case
do.
law. All right, so
So-
let me know what you have to say then. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
This committee to receive notices is an essential part of what's required. You need 3 people on there. The second department has held that if you leave it out entirely, complete absence is fatal.
That's correct. I've
But
seen that
if
case
there's
law.
missing information, it's not. And unless it's intended to mislead or confuse. I think the legal did some background, and it seems that the first name recipient of notices had a previous address with that apartment number.
That is correct.
Yeah, and so the address itself is correct, but the apartment number is incorrect, admittedly.
That is correct. Now, Commissioner, I just want to be clear what you said. Missing information is what the second department was talking about according to your own words.
A complete, if you leave it out completely.
No, but you also said missing information. This is information that is incorrect and is in fact misleading. So I think that there is definitely a distinction from what you're talking about, and this is a distinguishable point from the case that you're referring to that I did do research on as well.
Yeah, the standard they use is whether there's an intent to mislead or confuse signatories on the committee member's identity.
Well,
here,
I-
you have an opportunity to ballot, which is.
So this is what we have, though. All we have is this
Admittedly,
committee.
but if you think about it, this is, a signatory, a petition signer can't be misled about not, A, there's no candidate, you're trying to open up the line. And the standard here for knocking people off is usually higher. And so as chair of the Republican Law Committee.
Which I'm not representing here, by the way, I just want to be clear.
Okay,
I'm
but
in private
usually
practice
we
right
want to
now.
keep people, we want to keep lines open. If you want to knock somebody off, there's a real higher standard here. The second department has held that if there's an intent to confuse or mislead, then we look at that.
But that would
In
have been the
case-
result here, though.
And the
If
second
I didn't do my
department
due
also
diligence.
said that in that case, the case they were referring to, where you completely left off the recipients. Here, we had 3 names. One of them, the first name, had a incorrect apartment number based on the information that his change of address or his previous address had that apartment number. I'm going to
Well,
feel that it's
I
it's a
just want,
mistake, a clerical error that was made.
but that's not what they said, though. If there was a clerical error, it's on them to put in a printer's error affidavit to avoid this kind of confusion. The only reason that we didn't have this kind of confusion is because we took it upon ourselves to look up this information
appreciate
and to find it. I know that you appreciate it, but if we wouldn't have done that, our objections would not have even been heard because of that confusion that would have resulted. So I respectfully request that you accept the objection here, especially in light of the fact that at that address, there is no Republican there. If there was another Republican there with the last name Pincus, I can understand that. If Boris Pincus would have been at that address, I can understand that, but he's not. And since the post office requires us to put that information on there, and you require us to put the information that's on the petition on there, we're left in a quagmire. And it's a very confusing quagmire if you don't have someone who's done this before understand that you need to look up this information. I think that you are reading into distinguishable points of the law that are not really there. When you compare a case of totally missing information to information that's actually incorrect, it's 2 totally distinguishable points.
That's what the case law says. If you leave it out,
Right, but it's silent on this issue, isn't it?
it's not.
It's not
So,
silent
I'm
on
not moved
incorrect
by your
information?
argument. Let's move on to the specs.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Barrett.
well,
Clerks, do
You
you
know
have a
what?
revised clerk's report?
you know what, Commissioner, you don't even have to do that. We withdraw the objection.
Thank you. What is your,
Well, for the record, what did the clerks come up with?
The review of the clerk's restored signatures. The number of signatures submitted for the candidate is 646. The total invalid is 137. The total valid is 509. The number of signatures needed is 500. In addition, there was a mathematical error where our review of the spec changed the amount on a page on the spec, but we neglected to carry over those numbers to the line by line, and that error of ours would give an additional 5 valid signatures, which are not included in these numbers.
what is your revised clerk report have in terms of valid signatures, including those 5?
Valid signatures, including the 5, would be valid 142 and invalid 504. I'm sorry, I'm doing it backwards. It would be invalid it would be
Invalid remains the same.
invalid would be 132 and valid would be 514.
And it's 500 required, correct?
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion to move the clerk's,
I'll
revised
second.
clerk's report.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Clerk's report is moved. The candidate the opportunity ballot will be on the ballot. Does that make sense?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the authority sheet review committee for the independent nominating petitions for the... Take care, Gary.
Do you want?
This is the Commissioners Cover Sheet Review Committee for the independent nominating petitions for November 4th, 2014 general election. This candidate is for the House of Representatives in the 10th District. You can see that he left out the phone number volume for the petition and the ID number of his. Is this securable sheet there? Yes. ID number NY14648, came in unbound completely, just like this. No clips, no nothing.
Is this a curable defect?
Yes. Yes, they're going to hopefully. Yes, that's it. All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot.